Sometimes God helps us deal with our fears by helping us fear something else more. Sometimes He helps us just face them. There's a lot of different ways, but today I'd like to address one of the most common fears we've all struggled with the last couple of years, and that's suffering. We're afraid of sickness. We're afraid of dying. We're afraid of losing people that we love. We're afraid of any kind of hardship, economic or political. We're afraid of things that are going to mess up the rhythms of our life, and especially if they actually really, truly cause us pain. There's nothing wrong with being afraid of these things. There's nothing unnatural about being afraid of those things. But we can't allow them to cripple us. We can't allow those fears to drive the train, to absolutely control our lives. See, control is an illusion in and of itself. There's nothing that we can do to guarantee that we're actually safe in any category of our life, in any way. We try all these different things, and if there's anything at all that we can do to keep ourselves safer, or if there's foolish things we can avoid, of course that makes sense. Of course we should try. But again, when we allow ourselves to completely be controlled by our fear and by all the different things that we are told we can do to try and control the situation, to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe, to make sure we don't get hurt or sick or kicked out of the country because of political issues or whatever else we're really terrified by, whenever we can conquer that fear and just live life, it's a good day. One of the ways to do this is simply to humble ourselves in the sight of the Lord, because He promises that when we do that, that He will lift us up. And what I believe that means is simply when we realize that the only person who is really in control is God Himself, that allows us to trust Him more. When we realize that we can't, no matter how hard we try, control all the different things in our lives. There's absolutely no way we can control it, no matter how hard we try. That allows us to put our faith in someone who actually can much more easily. It also allows us to embrace the good that remains. And no matter how bad things get, there are always so many good things. In the year 2020, I heard so many people that were really suffering and truly not having a good time in quarantine or whatever else they were facing. And yet at the same time, those same people were talking about how much more family time they had, how much just the break in the relentless rhythm of life had actually been a blessing in some other ways. I can tell you so many other stories if I had more time. But even in the worst of times, there are good things. And when we trust God, when we stop trying to hold on to control ourselves, when we humble ourselves in His sight and we expect Him to lift us up as He sees fit, that frees us up so much to be able to actually experience life. It also allows us to embrace the mystery, the fact that there are questions that we'll never have answers to. The fact that some of the hardships that come will never be told why they came. And yet the truth remains that nothing can separate us from His love. Nothing can separate us from Him except our own foolish choices to walk away. This morning, I'd love to encourage you to just embrace the mystery a little more, and to embrace the good that remains, and to humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, knowing that He's the only one who can be in control ever. I bet there's something really brave that God is asking you to do. And by brave, I mean it takes courage. And by courage, I mean you're still afraid. You're terrified maybe. You're so tempted to just stay in whatever safety, whatever false shelter you might find yourself in, and really believe that that shelter can keep you safe. But the only thing that's really going to protect you is total trust in God, total obedience to Him, total fear of God. That's what the Bible tells us is the beginning of wisdom. So be afraid of God today. Let that fear of Him help you not be as afraid of everything else, and have the courage to face it and to face it well.